Hey everyone, it's Tim from timgagnon.com and welcome to the channel. Today I've got another tips and tricks video for you. I'm going to talk about 3 colors to use to create an epic night sky painting. A lot of people might think to use black when creating a night sky painting because you want a really dark sky. Well, that's not the case. When you use black, it's really flat, you don't have a whole lot of depth. And by using these 3 colors that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, you can create a lot more depth. Use the colors that you use in the sky, in the clouds, to create some nice harmony. So before we get into the colors, make sure you subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and like the video. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed to the channel lately. I'm really enjoying creating these videos. Also, if you have a chance, make sure you check out timgagnon.com. I have hundreds of online painting lessons where you can learn paintings similar to this one and many others. You can learn from me and other artists as well. And make sure you check out my workshop schedule. I'll be traveling the country here after the summer. I'll be visiting a lot of cities around the country in the United States, teaching in-person painting workshops. Okay, so let's get to those 3 colors that I use to create epic night sky paintings. First, I use phthalo blue. So phthalo blue is a really strong blue color. It's very highly pigmented. You don't need a whole lot of phthalo blue when mixing the color because of how much strength it has in the saturation. It will really alter colors a lot. The second color is alizarin crimson, also a very strong pigmented color. Same type of thing as phthalo blue. Mix these 2 together and you get a really strong, powerful purple color. And I'm going to show you on the palette here, mixing those and how you can create that really nice dark sky. And the last is, it's up for debate if titanium white is a color. Some would call it more of a shade, but we'll say it's the 3rd color. So titanium white, phthalo blue, and alizarin crimson. So to create this nice dark sky, we mix phthalo blue and alizarin crimson together. How do we create the cloud colors? Well, we take those 2 colors and make variations of them. Then we create the highlights using mostly the phthalo blue, and you can see they're nice, powerful highlights in there. The trees, very similar to the sky, just those 2 colors, and you just shift it back and forth. A little bit more alizarin, a little bit more phthalo, maybe a touch of white for trees that are a little more faint. But let's go to the palette and I'll just talk about mixing some of these colors. Then I'll show you a painting I'm working on and just a couple techniques on creating the night sky. Okay, as you can see, I've already got a whole bunch of colors I've been mixing. I've been working on a painting like I mentioned earlier, so I don't want to waste my palette paper, and I'm just going to use this, and I'm also going to use that same paint in the painting. So trying to be less wasteful, so sorry about the paint that's already mixed on here. But the 3 colors here, I've got my phthalo blue up here, my alizarin crimson here, and my titanium white here. This stuff here just is some Neo McGilp. It's a medium that helps the paint dry a little bit faster. So to create the really dark night sky, I always start with the phthalo blue. Then I add a little bit of alizarin to it. So when I do the night sky, I lean a little bit more towards the phthalo blue. So I would say I do about a little bit more than half of the phthalo blue and slightly less than half of the alizarin crimson. We'll say 60% phthalo blue, 40% alizarin crimson. So that would create my night sky painting right there. So that's the darkest part of the sky. Then what I would do to create the clouds is take that same color mixture, add a little bit of white to it, and I get that nice purple color. So from here, I would create the contours of the clouds, the overall shape, and then to create lighter values, I just take that same pile and continue to add white. So at some points I might want it to be a little bit more purple, and if that's the case, I just keep adding a little bit more alizarin to get it more purple. So you can see adding a little bit more alizarin and white, and you get some purple hues in there. So then in the low highlight area, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, I take my phthalo blue, a little bit of my cloud color, and some white. So that's the highlight color within the clouds. So right there, that's the three colors. We've got the night sky, the dark area. We have the initial cloud contour shape, some of the middle ground highlights, and then the brighter highlights are the phthalo blue color. And that's how you can create some epic skies with just three colors. When it comes to the trees, you just go back to this color and maybe add just a touch of white to it. For trees that are a little bit further away and trees that are closer, you make a little bit darker to create depth. All right, so let's go to the canvas and I'll just show you a couple techniques. Okay, so you can see I just kind of started this painting. I've got the base down. That dark color up here, that was that alizarin crimson phthalo blue, where it's 60% phthalo blue, 40% alizarin. That second color created this overall shape. And then that third color, that lighter blue color, I've started cutting out contours from the initial shape. And then how I create the contours is basically by taking a color that's a little bit lighter than the previous layer. So if I'm moving on to the next layer on this painting, I want to find a color that's slightly lighter than what's already up here. And what I do is look for an area that I want to create a contour shape. And I've got my round brush from my cloud set, which you can find on timgagnon.com. And I just cut out a contour shape So I cut out that contour shape with that phthalo blue mixture, take a rag, wipe off the excess paint, and what I want to do is take that paint, this is oil paint, so it's going to stay wet. I just take that paint and I move it away from that contour, and I move it close to this next contour. I want the edge to stay dark, but I want the overall area inside there to be lighter. So it takes some practice to get that technique down, but what we're doing is taking our previous layer and going a little bit lighter each time as we cut out these highlight areas. So I'll do one more. And you can always take a dry blending brush and then just feather out the paint. So you can see how it kind of highlighted the inside here and it popped this darker piece out. So do that one more time. If I went up here, and I don't want to be too symmetrical, but for the case of this video, I'm just going to allow it to be a little bit more symmetrical so it's easier to see. You're starting at this dark area. And then we're pushing the paint out. Sometimes you don't have to wipe the brush off. It depends on how much paint's on the brush. But I don't have a whole lot on the brush this time, so I'm going to push the paint out away from that contour, out towards the edge. And then with the blending brush, just softening the shapes a little bit. So it's a matter of cutting out shapes from our previous layers. So we start out in that mid-tone, that second color I created right here. We start out with that, and then we start cutting everything out with lighter values. So as you can see, it takes a lot of layers to create all of the depth within the cloud, but you're just using those three basic colors. Sometimes you're shifting a little more towards blue within the contours, sometimes a little more towards purple in the shadowy areas. Then we're going really just both of those two colors without white, a little more on the phthalo blue side to create that really nice dark sky and those really dark trees. So just to recap, the three colors were phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, and titanium white to create a nice epic night sky painting. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, make sure you post them in the comments below. I try to answer all of the comments that you guys post. And if you have a chance, make sure you visit timgagnon.com to check out all of my online painting lessons and my workshop schedule for this year. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.